Hi guys, it's me, Cambro. Welcome to my channel where I'll be talking about the new Return to Dunwich Legacy expansion that, well, according to the site it hasn't dropped yet, but, well, I have it at least, so we're gonna talk about it. I think it was released in like some countries. I'm not entirely sure how that works. So if you don't know what this is, it's the Return to Dunwich Legacy. You can't just buy this instead of the Dunwich Legacy. You have to have the Dunwich Legacy, and this kind of spices up or makes all scenarios play a little bit different. So the story and all of that is still the same, but it's basically new locations, new acts, and new enemies and stuff like that. I haven't tried it yet, but I mean, the Return to Night of the Zealot spiced it up some. I've only played it once, but I'm more excited for this real return to boxes. If you want to look, I have. Let's see if you can see it on the camera like that. This is all the scenario cards, and these are the encounter cards that can be in multiple. I haven't sleeved like the last 20 cards because I ran out of sleeves, but you see there's still a lot of space here. Like 4 fingers fit here. I would prefer it to be actually a little bit smaller, so if now the card can kind of wiggle around in there. So I don't know if I'll actually use this box, but it definitely fits all the new cards and all the previous card from the Dunwich Legacy box in it, sleeved without a doubt. So today we will be talking about there are actually 10 player cards in this box, and we'll be talking about that. There's also some scenario cards, but we won't cover them. There are, however, a new basic weakness, and we will be talking about that one. So let's just jump. Ooh, I should have started. Let's see, like that. So our first card is Bandolier, and all of these cards. Oh wait, my camera is in the middle. Let's just put me like that. All of these cards are upgraded versions of cards we already have, so all 10 cards will be familiar. So it's a Guardian asset, cost 2 experience. Willpower and combat icon, item traded, and you have 2 additional hand slots which can only be used to hold weapon assets. While you have weapon assets held in 2 or more hand slots, you get +1 willpower, takes up the body slot, and 1 health. So if we compare it to the old one, let's just we should zoom in here so you guys can see. So the old Bandolier, you traded your body slot for a hand slot, or for a weapon slot. That's basically it. The Bandolier, I usually keep like 1 in my deck, so you can have like a 2-handed weapon and a machete at the same time, because you don't really want to fire your lightning gun on like a small 2 health enemy. The level 2 Bandolier, you can now hold you have essentially 4 hands, but 2 of them have to be for weapons. So you can have something like, you can have a flashlight and a machete, and then in your last 2 hands you can have a big gun, like a bar or shotgun or whatever. No, never Springfield. Ignore that. That's good. My face is covering it. So I mean, that's cool, I guess. If you're playing solo, then you might want to have the flashlight, but usually you're okay without the flashlight. The Bandolier is also a card that I struggle to keep through the entire cycle. I usually run 1, and at the end of the campaign it usually gets replaced by something. So having an upgrade version, we'll see. But this also has this, if you're carrying two of your hands carrying a weapon, you get plus willpower. And that might be relevant for someone like Skid, who's quite low on the willpower. If he If he carries 2 guns in his hand, he'll have 3 willpower, which is quite okay actually. All willpower helps him. But other than that, it's not too much to say. I find it hard to include 2 Bandoliers, so I'll see if I manage to find space for an upgraded one. Next card, oops, is Blackjack, level 2. Cost 2 to experience combat and agility icon, and this has action, fight. You get +2 combat for this attack. If you perform this attack against an engaged enemy with another investigator, you deal +1 damage for this attack if you succeed, and no damage if you fail. So this is kind of like a weapon that if another investigator's engaged with that enemy, you can hit it, and if you succeed, you do 2 damage, and if you fail, you don't do any damage. If we compare to the original one that just gave you +1 and you did no damage if you failed, this is definitely better. Because this one deals the +1 damage. Because if you're using something like a 45 against an enemy engaged with another enemy, and you miss, you actually damage that investigator. But with the Blackjack, you don't. And I guess that's fine. However, if the other investigator don't have an enemy engaged with it, and you are engaged with the enemy, you will only do 1 damage. You don't get this plus damage then, so the other investigator have to be engaged with them, which is kind of awkward. So maybe if you run like a Blackjack and a machete, so you shop the ones that are engaged with you, and I don't know, hit the ones that are not engaged with you. That might work. It's +2, which is kind of neat. I don't know. It might work, but I probably just engage the enemy or like play something like taunt instead of including Blackjack. I mean, the level 0 version is so bad. And this is definitely more playable, but is it playable enough? That's something we have to try and see. I guess Blackjack plus Machete could work in like the beginning. And definitely if you're playing solo, this card has no use, obviously. Okay, next card. It's Preposterous Sketches. It's it's a Seeker event. Cost 0 to play, 2 experience, willpower, and intellect icon. Insight traded like all events for Seeker. Play only if there's a clue on your location and draw 3 cards. Compared to the level 1 version, it's basically the same card, except this one costs 0 instead of 2. So you pay 2 experience to have it for free. That's neat, I guess. Like if we compare to Cryptic Research, which is a level 4 event, you can choose anyone to draw these 3 cards, and it's fast. This one is only you, and if there's a clue at your location. I mean, it's an okay card as well. Someone like Roland might like it because he's guardian and they usually struggle with money. So being able to play this one for free is nice. And Roland usually wants to have clues at his location, so it works well with that. Not super exciting, but definitely like something you can include mid-campaign if you're lacking card draw. Yeah, you can take this except Roland and Seekers and Lola. We don't have another secondary Seeker, right? We might have. I can't figure out it right now. And next card is Strange Illusion, Empowering Elixir. It costs 1 for experience and 2 intellect icons. Item science and the same text as all the others. Upgrade Strange Illusion, you can only include it if you have identified the solution. Comes in with 3 supplies. Action. You spend 1 supply and exhaust it. Choose an investigator at your location to gain 2 resources and draw 1 card. So we have like, let's see if we, the final set, if we can call it that. Now we have one that lets you draw cards and gain money, one that heals, one that does damage, and one that evade. And they put 4 supplies on the freezing and restoring concussion. 4 supplies because I guess they thought they were a bit underpowered, or like the acid Icar were much stronger. And the empowering elixir also have 3 supplies, so I'm not sure what that's about. You choose a investigator, and that the investigator gains 2 resources and draw 1 card. Kind of like what it's called, Stand Together, which is one of my favorite card. You and another investigator draws 2 cards and gain 2 resources. But this is like, for 1 card you draw 4 cards and gain 4 resources in total. This one is for 1 action. This one is 6 resources and 3 cards, but it's also during like 1 action to play it and then 3 actions to actually use this. So it feels very slow. Obviously the ones that can take this probably can take Stand Together. But yeah, it's not that flashy. I find it hard to probably want to use the Acid Kicker most of the time anyway. But I mean, in a kind of a main support deck, you could use this probably. Definitely speeds up the draw and the research, helping your Guardian get those resources, or your Rogue to draw extra cards. And they also like money, so it's definitely a fun card with Screwed Analysis, which lets you randomize which of the strange illusions you take. So now we have 4 eligible options for most seekers. So that's fun. Next card is Contraband, level 2. Cost 3, has willpower and 2 intellect icons, supply and illicit. And it reads: choose an asset controlled by an investigator at your location, either choose one, place 2 ammo or supply tokens on that asset and draw 1 card. Double the number of ammo or supply tokens on that asset. If we compare to the level 0, then you just choose an asset and you double the amount of ammo or supply on that, and it costs 4 instead of 3. So the new thing, I mean, this secondary class is the same as the original, but you can also now put new ammo on it. So when is it better to double? If you have 2 ammo or 2 supplies, it's better to just put this one, because putting 2 is the same as doubling, but you also get to draw a card. And it's you who draws the card, it's not the owner of the asset who draws that card. So you have to have 3 on it to be worth the doubling it. And for ammo, most of the time it might just be better to play extra ammunition, or the blessed, is it called blessed ammunition? Nope, it's called it's something like blessed ammunition, or I keep forgetting what it's called. Zero Archive? Nope. Well, a custom ammunition. They put 2 ammo on it as well. So if it has like 3 or 4, then it's probably worth doubling it. But it's hard. It's hard to have this card like in your hand when you have an asset with that many tokens on it. Because let's pretend you play your asset, and then you probably want to use those ammo or supplies, but if you want to get maximum value of this doubling, you kind of have to wait until someone draws the Contraband. But with this one, compared to the level 0, it gives you a bit more flexibility. You can just put 2 ammo and draw 1 card, and that's okay. if we compare it to extra ammunition, it's one more to play, and you get one ammo less, but you get to draw a card, so it kind of evens out, maybe, if you come at least the cost wise, and because you draw a card, this costs one more, this costs one less, but you don't draw a card, so it's kind of the same. Yeah, not super exciting, but there's definitely something fun you can maybe build with this. Next card is Think of You on Your Feet. Level 2. Cost 0, intellect, agility, fast. Play when an enemy enters your location, immediately move to a connecting location. The enemy still enter your previous location. And the previous one cost 1, and you could only play this when an enemy would spawn at your location. And spawning is different from entering. Spawning is only when it comes like outside of play onto that location, usually from the encounter deck. However, this one, the level 2, if they move in with something like if they have Hunter, you can still play this one, and you can play this from broke, so you won't get hit by the Hunter enemy. And that's nice. It gives you definitely a lot of flexibility. Elusive, one of the best cards, I would say. It lets you move around the whole map. This lets you move one location. This is free, however, and you do this when the enemy enters your location, compared to this where you only play it on your turn. So if something went wrong, you could play this one to like save yourself from getting hit by a strong enemy that moved into your location unexpectedly. Or if they spawn, like maybe you were greedy in advancing the act and an enemy spawned from that and you have no actions left. Something like that. And it's an okay card. Definitely very flexible. 2 agility icons is also good, so you can always pitch it just instead of use it instead of a manual dexterity. Not much more to say about that. Rite of Seeking, level 2. It's a mystic asset. Has an intellect icon. Spell uses 3 charges. You spend 1 charge. You investigate using willpower instead of intellect. You get +2 willpower for this test. If you succeed, discover 1 additional clue. If a bad token is revealed, you lose all your remaining action, and it takes the arcane slot. So, Rite of Seeking. We have a level 0, and we actually have a level 4. So let's see, can I put this here? The Rite of Seeking level 2 and level 0 are very similar. The only difference is that you get +2 willpower for this one. And while the level 4 you get +2 and you discover 2 additional. So I would probably say that the level 2 version is the best if you're playing 2 or 4 player. Because the clues are usually in sets of the number of players. So if you're playing 2 people, then you usually don't have any use for the level 4 version. Let's say there's like 2 clues per person, it'll be 4 clues on the location. If you use the level 4, you'll find 3 of them, and then you're stuck with 1. So then you have to use another charge just to pick that one up if you're like the clue getter, which is kind of awkward. That's what, if you're playing duo, you usually don't upgrade it. But this is only your base willpower. So someone like Jim, who's only at 4, right, might struggle. So the level 2 definitely helps to get like +2. That really makes a difference. It's like a free guts every time you use it. It's definitely a good upgrade. People who can use it as secondary class, oh well, Safina at least, definitely likes it. Daisy probably don't like it because she's so good at finding clues anyway. She doesn't need the spells for that. But it's definitely a good upgrade for Safina. And good along the way. If you use what is called Arcane. Which one is it? Arcane Research. And every time you upgrade a spell, it gets cheaper. So if you're still going for the level 4, you could make a stop at the level 2. So you pay 1 experience for this one, and then you pay 1 experience to upgrade the level 2 to level 4 if you have the arcane research, which is good. Definitely a solid card. Next card is Clarity of Mind. It's a mystic asset, costs 2, 3 experience, and 2 willpower icons. It's a spell, uses 4 charges, action, spend 1 charge, heal 2 horror from among investigators at your location. And it takes the arcane slot. I actually misread this before. I read heal 2 horror from an investigator at your location, but you can actually split this. So you could heal like you can heal 1 on yourself and another horror on another investigator, which is okay. If we compare to the level 0, costs the same, but you just heal 1 horror and has 3 charges. So this heals 3, this heals 8 horror in total, which is definitely an increase. It's kind of similar to First Aid from Guardian. Cost the same in experience, same pips, same charges, same you heal 1, spend 1 charge to heal 2. Here you heal 1 damage and 1 horror from the same investigator or ally, but they're very similar. When I first read this, I did not like it, but I love First Aid, so maybe this is a good card. There are other options in Mystic, like Fearless level 2, there heal 2 horror from yourself. And I mean, you're probably going to heal like yourself if you're someone like Agnes or your Guardian pal. One thing that might be relevant is in the Circle Undone we are a little bit of spoiler, so if you don't like that, turn away or pause. We're getting Carol, and she gets money or gives away money every time she heals. So like with Karasan in the last pack, if you heal 2 different investigators, you get both of them get 1 resource, which is cool. Let's continue. It takes up the arcane slot, which is kind of awkward though. Carolyn can't take this, but I think there's better. Might be better healing options, but we'll see. Next card is Ooops, which is one of the best names in all of Arkham cards. It's a survivor card, event, cost 2 to play, 2 XP to include, combat, agility, fast. Play after you fail a skill test by 3 or less while attacking an enemy. Deal this attack's damage to any enemy at your location. If the attacked enemy is engaged with another investigator, this attack deals no damage to that investigator. So if we compare to the level 0, then you play it after you fail by 2 or less, and you deal this damage to a different enemy at your location. Kind of like with Aquina level 4 or level 2, level 3, something like that. You can now deal the damage again to the enemy you were planning on attacking, which is so much stronger. The problem is if you have to choose another enemy at that location, like first that the enemy might be super easy to kill, or there might not actually be another enemy. This is much better than the level 0, like much better. Let's say you're attacking with the old hunting rifle. You shoot, you're doing 3 damage, but you miss. Let's say you miss by 2. Then you play this, and you still do those 3 damage to that enemy. And if they are engaged with another investigator, you don't hit them for anything. So it's actually kind of a strong card. Let's say your pal is engaged with an enemy, and you just shoot with old hunting rifle. You don't have to like take an action to engage it, and so because with Ooops you're probably guaranteed to do the damage anyway. So it's kind of like a upgraded lucky for attacking, which is the level 0 definitely isn't. It's much worse, this class. And oh yeah, and you don't have to be engaged with it anymore. Yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff that makes these cards different. You don't have to be engaged with it. There's 3, you can still do the damage to the enemy, and you don't damage another investigator if they are engaged with it. So it's definitely an upgraded card. Very cool to see how they because I'm pretty sure they knew no one played Ooops. So it's cool to see them really upgrading the card. Last card is Rise to the Occasion. It's an survivor skill, first skill in the pack. Cost 3 XP to include, and has 2 wild. Innate. Commit only to a skill test you are performing, and only if the difficulty of the test is higher than your base skill. Rise to the Occasion get plus X wild icons, where X is the difference between your base skill value and this stealth difficulty, to a maximum of 3 wild. So that's a lot of text. If we compare to the original one, the level 0, then it has 3 wild. So this is the first time, I think, when we actually lose icons. So this one say you can only include it if you are 2 or less. The difficulty has to be 2 or higher than your base. So if we let's pretend we still include go by those rules. If you're 2 below, then this will get 2 wild. So this will be 4 wild, which is very strong. It's like the desperate cards. You can, however, include this if you're 1 below, and it will still get 1 wild. So it will be the same as the original one. For someone like Calvin, obviously, when you're comparing your base to something, Calvin is super strong. Because if you're testing something with 3 will, his base is still 0, so even if he has some horror on him, his base is still 0, so you will get plus 3 will, which is plus 5 wild icons, which is super strong. This is probably an out-include for Calvin, in a couple scenarios, it's really strong. But it's still good for most survivors. There's always a couple of stats you're lacking in. This will usually be a plus 3 to plus 4. I mean, it could be actually up plus 5 without too much trouble. It is innate, so you could get it back with True Survivor, which is probably a very strong card to recur. Oh no, it's here. Yeah, maybe be like a Rise to the Occasion True Survivor with all the desperate cards and what is it called, Last Chance. Yeah, only skill cards in your deck. Just get them back. Would be a cool deck. So that's all the player cards. I'm going to cover now a new basic weakness. So if you don't want to see it, I mean, just end the video here then, I guess. But the last card we're going to talk about, it's Through the Gates. It's a basic weakness, so it's eligible when you're choosing your basic weakness. This will be in the pool of weakness you can get. And there's 2 copies of it, so it's actually a relative good chance of actually drawing it. It's a Pact and Mystery traded and has a revelation effect. Draw the top card of your deck. If it's not a weakness, remove the card from the game, then search your deck, discard pile, hand, and all play areas for each other copy of that card you own. Remove them from the game as well. So this card is basically you draw it, and then you reveal your top card, and whatever card that is, you remove that card and your other copy of that card from the game, no matter where it is. That could be super devastating. Let's say you are a guardian and you manage to hit Machete with this. Then both your Machetes goes. Even if you have it already played it's gone. You drop it through the gate into another dimension. If you are a seeker and you manage to hit Melon, he's gone forever, or for this scenario. However, it could be like, it could not matter at all. Let's say you manage to hit your 1 copy of Guts. Sure, it's a bit annoying, but I'll definitely trade 1 Guts instead of having to deal with another basic weakness, something like Overzealous or the thing that follows. So this card is very swingy. It could probably ruin your deck, or it won't matter at all. And that's a bit. I mean, the other really biggest swingy basic weakness is probably the belt or the belt holes, doomed, which is not really swinging the same way, but it can kill you. This, however, might destroy your deck. I mean, a deck shouldn't focus solely on one card, but some decks do, and it'd be really a shame to lose that card. It would be really bad if it hit Painted World on Sefinak. She has 3 of them, and well, they are usually quite important for her build. So yeah, it's a very swingy card. It looks fun. I hope I get to play with it very soon. However, there is a thing, and without spoiling too much, there are a couple of scenarios where you have to have specific asset to progress the campaign, and this can hit story assets. It just remove them from the game, and then those scenarios will be impossible to progress or win. So you just have to lose that. So if that happens, I guess you kind of have to house rule it until we get an FAQ on how to handle that. Yeah, so that was the Return to Dunwich player cards. We are well, I haven't played it myself yet, but it looks very cool. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good. We will be talking about, we have gotten all the articles for the Circle Undone, I think. And it should be dropping hopefully very soon. And when that do, we will be covering all the new Investigator and player cards. So I hope you're excited for that as I am. And until next time, take care and good luck with those token pools.